sick for almost 3 weeks. Been back in recovery. My son started school this week, so we've had to go from waking up at like 11 a.m. every day to waking up at like 7:45 a.m. which hasn't been bad. I think because it's the end of the week and I finally made it, it's like all starting to hit me. But it's okay, we're gonna push through. I got a couple of wigs from a company by the name of Bestlacewigs. So they sent me a couple of wigs. I've already did one of the reviews, but as promised, I have the second review, the second wig here for you guys. So if you missed the first review, I have it linked in the description bar. And just a quick refresher, it came with a brush, and the brush has their initials embossed, BLW, short for Bestlacewigs. And it seems to be a nice, good, sturdy wig brush. And then you have your brown wig caps. I can go ahead and add those to my collection. Then you also get your cash, which basically is a way to get $20 off. And then of course you get like just a random brochure. Each wig you purchase comes in a little plastic bag like this, and it gives you a little reminder of what you ordered. So the wig itself has a middle part pre-parted. Now, pros and cons to a middle part. I love a middle part because you get a really good, perfect parting, flawless, without having to do anything. If you wash the hair, do anything to the hair, this typically will just go back and revert back to its center part. And you don't have to bleach the knots, which is the best part, because where that parting is, there is no knots. But if you move over, say here, you know, you don't have that pre-parting, and I don't know if you guys can see it there, but there are knots. So that's the pros, but the con is that this is not what anybody's natural hairline looks like. Like, this is what I would consider to be a straight part, but it doesn't look so like a perfect straight line. Like, nobody gets their part this perfect straight. So usually what I do is I'll go in and kind of like take my tweezers and just go like, not too much to where I'm like opening up the parting and making it wider, but just kind of making it a little bit imperfect because it's a little bit too perfect. But when it's pre-parted, you still have all of this parting space here. So if you don't like that pre-parting, you can obviously move it over, or if you do a side part or something like that, you have that option. Just know that where the ear, like right here, is going to be less parting than in the center. You have 3 combs in the front area, 1 comb in the back, adjustable straps, and then you have your baby hair and excess lace back here. So if you are a bonnier hair in the back down kind of girl, they got your back. So this is what the wig looks alike on. Now again, it does come pre-parted, so that's what that looks like. Again, I'm going to do my best to make it look a little bit more natural without bleaching the knots. And then this is what the sides look like. If you're going to use that center parting like this, you can kind of get away with just adding baby hair like from here to here. But if you are level 10 at slaying, you want to slay it all the way around. That way when you kind of and the wind blows or whatever, you know, you unclockable and you slay. So it's 12 inches as I said before, and this is what 12 inches or a 12-inch bob looks like on her. So I decided to add the elastic band off camera, and now the wig fits like a glove. This time I did use a 1.5 inch. Normally I usually use a 2, excuse me. And this is the hairline on it. You can see it's pre-parted. So I kind of want to make it a little bit more natural. I'm not going to go ear to ear. If you want a super duper, you know, like bomb flawless lace, go ear to ear with plucking and tweezing and making baby hair. I'm going to go like temple to temple. But first I'm going to go ahead and cut off the lace. Now I tried to start excluding this portion in the video and kind of like cutting it out. But like the moment I stopped, I got somebody who was so angry. Like, the most important part I needed the video was how you cut the lace off, and you didn't put the lace. And it was kind of like, yo, if you watch my videos, you know that I literally cut it off on camera in majority of my videos. So I'll continue to give it to you guys.
It's nothing, you know, crazy to it. When you watch me, you can see that I'm not the most like precise. Sometimes I cut into the hair like right there, and sometimes I don't. I really don't have a technique. I just pull the hair taut with one hand and I cut with the other. I find when you're pulling it like away from your face, it kind of helps to kind of guide you and see where you are, and you know, it makes the hair, the lace like firm, so when you're, you know, cutting, you can get a clean cut, so to speak. And if you don't get a clean cut, like that top right there, you go back and just clean it up. Like you can see, it's a little raggedy right there, so clean it up. It's simple. And if you go into the lace, that's fine. You don't want to just cut a huge chunk out of your lace for no reason, but you know, you don't need, or it's not necessary to be so like, oh my god, I can't cut 2, 3, 4, 5 strands of hair out of the lace, it's gonna ruin it. You know, that's not the case. You can cut it to any shape you want. You want to cut it to mimic your natural, you know, hairline, so to speak. So just to kind of give you guys a guide, I'm going to add a little powder to the parting, just so you guys kind of see the vision. Normally, you don't necessarily need to add the powder to the parting to the very end, because you're going to see that I'm going to re-add the powder to the parting at the very end, because as you move around and manipulate the hair, add product, add a flat iron, all those things, it kind of will soften up what's there, and you'll need to kind of like refresh it, so to speak. But when you do it, kind of blend it out. Use your brush or your finger to blend it out. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some baby hair. Like I said, I'm going to go basically like temple to temple, like the arch of my eyebrow to my arch of my eyebrow, so to speak, so that you have enough there that with the center parting you can, you know, see baby hair, but I didn't feel like going like all the way down. And as you guys can see, they give you, you know, a nice little situation. Now if you trim this down as is and swoop some baby hair, it may seem thin, but this is going to be some really thick baby hair. So my goal is really not to pluck or tweeze it in a specific design, more so just wanting to literally thin it out to about maybe 50 to 25% of what is there, so that when I cut the hair short and I swoop my baby hair, it'll be thin and flush and not this thick, chunky, you know, Spider-Man looking, you know, spiderweb looking baby hair, so to speak. So just keep plucking or tweezing. I personally pluck a lot just because I'm lazy, and it just helps me to get it done quicker than tweezing. But I don't recommend it because it can rip a hole in your lace. It can, you know, mess you up a little bit. Like a lot of times I'm like pulling out chunks, and you literally might just pull out a whole chunk of hair like that's going to be like a bald spot. Whereas if you tweeze, you kind of isolate hair by hair, and it's a little bit harder to make a bald spot, so to speak. So don't do what I do. Just, you know, thin it out. You see here, I thin it out, and you're going to see that even once I start forming the baby hair, I'm going to continue to thin it out. Never feel like, you know, you can't get it to where you want. I am using like one of those eyebrow razors that you get from the beauty supply store. Normally I use scissors. I definitely feel like a razor is a better option than scissors, just because you get like an uneven, you're able to like, you know, kind of like tease it as you cut and get an uneven cut so that it's a little bit more natural, opposed to like a blunt cut, you know, of baby hair that's going to swoop perfectly. Now here I'm going to just take my tweezers and kind of just tease the parting a little bit. I feel like that parting is a little bit too perfect, especially because there were no knots there. So it gives you synthetic wig vibes when it's a little bit too perfect and it's like no knots, or, you know, it's a difference between bleaching the knots and no knots. When it's like this and you don't kind of give it something, it kind of gives you Barbie doll, you know, synthetic wig vibes. So you don't want to, you know, open the part up bigger. You just want to make it, you know, a little imperfect. So I decided I'm going to stop here. If you choose to do a little bit more or go further down, that is definitely an option. And this is a lace front wig, so you kind of just need some tracks on the side. So don't try to, you know, do this style per se, because you don't want to see tracks. Now I'm going to take my Gorilla Snot. You guys know that this is my favorite, my current favorite hair styling product as far as my baby hairs go. It kind of smells, it has that blue toothpaste look and it smells like toothpaste. But you can see here that I've already plucked and tweezed and did everything to my baby hair. And then as I'm tweezing it, as I'm swooping it, I realized that it was too long and too thick. So I still was able to go in and continue to customize. So like when you're plucking and tweezing and you can't tell, just go ahead and start trying to form the baby hair using a product like this. This is the Gorilla Snot Sport. This one is not too tacky to where it's gonna like seal the baby hair down where you can't move it. And even if it gets a little bit too firm, just spray a little bit of water onto your baby hair brush, and that'll loosen it up a little bit, so that you can continue to customize it literally from start to finish, and you just never stop customizing it until you reach your full potential of satisfaction. I will say that when I use the Black Got2b Glue Gel, if you're an OG, then you know that that's been my ride or die favorite for at least a year. When I use that one, and then I try to customize after I've already applied a little bit to that baby hair area, it is harder to move it and plug it and tweeze it, and it does get a little bit more messy. So at this point, I'm pretty much happy with the results. I definitely feel like even though it's pre-parted, I could have bleached the knots for a better, more flush baby hair look. But right now, I have the hair pulled back. The hair will not be pulled back. It will be, a normal center part look. So you really won't have the opportunity to really just be like all in it, To see, I use a foundation powder. You can use, you can use anything. I've seen people use bronzers. I've seen people use concealers. I've liquid foundations. I've used eyeshadow powders. I literally switch it up. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of times when I come on camera, it never looks perfect. And I will say that in person, it always looks better than what comes up on this on the camera. I don't know why. So here, that's $13.99 for this really nice flat iron. I got it from Swap Meet. Went to the Swap Meet last week and balled out. So I went to the beauty supply store and got this hot comb. I have another one from like Andy, or I forget what the brand is, but I got the other one on Amazon and I've used it quite a few times. Now that one gets warm, but it doesn't press like I need it to. This one definitely is the closest I think I've got, or have gotten, and I think I will ever get to having a real like hot comb without going to the stove. And the purpose of this is that secret step that is gonna help your lace to look like it's coming out of your scalp. Like if you can do this with a real flat iron, just around, the crown of your head or wherever your parting and hairline will show, you will see that this is what is going to, no matter how much you flat iron the hair and all that jazz and add product and wax and, foam lotion, this is a key step if you really want it to look like your lace is literally melted and your hair is literally has follicles. Basically, it makes it look like your hair literally has some roots. So after I've done all this hard work, I kind of realized I had about maybe half to a quarter inch more parting space. Now be careful when you go all the way back with your parting, because like here you can kind of see that you could kind of see that track after the fact, and that's probably why they didn't define the parting right there. But I wanted the parting to be a little bit elongated, so I went ahead and did it. I also added my mousse, which you guys know I normally do, and boom, I actually burned my hair. Luckily I didn't burn the lace or put a hole in it, but I did like freaking nick my head. It was so hot. So at this point, I'm just straightening and bumping it. There's this piece I missed right in the back of my head that kind of has a hump, and it bothers me in this video because I didn't straighten it. So whenever you're doing your hair, make sure that whether it's your natural hair, extensions, braids, always keep a handheld mirror like in your bathroom so you can look at your hair and see that, the back looks as good as the front. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and watch my thoughts on this wig, and yeah.
So hopefully you guys love that quick tutorial. Really just wanted to go ahead and style it super bone straight. I tried out my new hot comb. This one comes from the beauty supply at the Sloss and Swap Meet. Yes, I got this from the Sloss and Swap Meet last week for about 13 bucks. And honestly, I have another one. Where is it? This one I bought on Amazon and it's crap. Like I've used this in a few tutorials and it helps a little bit, but this gives you more of, that is like something different. This is like the closest I'm probably going to get to a hot comb on the stove without actually going to the stove. It gets super hot. It actually burnt the box. I put it on my countertop and I started to smell something and I got nervous because I don't want to ruin my countertops. So I just set it on the Bestlacewigs box, not realizing that I was going to damage my sweet little box. But literally it was on there for like 3 or 4 minutes and it already started to burn. So I will try to find this one linked down below. It does have a brand on it. So if I can find it, I'll link it down below. If not, I'll try to find one similar that I can, you know, link down for you guys to reference or to purchase. But this one gets really, really hot. So the only thing I would say is be careful because you don't want to burn or ruin your lace. But yeah, everything that I use will be listed and linked down below so that you can purchase if you like the way I used it or, you know, think it'll work great for you. But yeah, don't really have any complaints about this one. Worked really well for me. The only thing I can say is that if you want a layered bob like this, it comes pre-parted. Make sure that you kind of razzle dazzle the parting or, you know, something so that it doesn't look too perfect, but it still looks good. Other than that, I have no complaints. I have nothing much more to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.